Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we will be discussing the rules to follow to become rich. There's no official indicator when you step into the middle class, but you'll see the signs like owning a home, a car, paying for your kids' college tuition, and still having some cash to spare. To bring this video to life and make it more relatable, let me introduce you to Simon. Simon is your typical Joe. He grew up in an average family. His parents were lower middle class and did occasionally struggle with the bills. Simon went to an average school, graduated with a high school diploma, and thanks to his average grades, he managed to get into a decent college. After 4 years in college, he graduated, and thanks to his dad's network, he managed to get an internship, which led to a decent job. Simon is nobody extraordinary, and because of his relatively poor upbringing, good financial principles were never really instilled in him, nor was it ever a priority. As a result of this, when his first job and money started flowing in, he became a little reckless with it. Simon became a spendthrift, as if trying to fill a void left in his childhood. He loved to buy the latest gadgets, take expensive vacations, and dine out at fancy restaurants. He had several credit cards, and he used them without thinking twice about the consequences. He had never been good at budgeting or saving money. One day, Simon realized that he had accumulated a huge amount of debt. He had several credit cards with high balances, and he was making only the minimum payments on them. He was also paying high interest rates on his loans. He realized that he had to do something about it before it was too late. Simon began to take a closer look at his finances and how he was spending his money. He created a budget and set realistic financial goals for himself. He also began to research ways to get out of debt. He read books and articles on personal finance. And he sought the advice of financial experts. He started by cutting back on his expenses, such as eating out less and canceling subscriptions he didn't use. He also started looking for extra income opportunities, such as freelancing or renting a room in his house. He also made a plan to pay off his debts by starting with a credit card with the highest interest rate first, and then moving on to the next one. He also made sure to pay more than the minimum amount due on each card. Simon to his plan and was able to pay off all of his credit card debt within a year. He also paid off his car loan and student loans. He felt a huge weight lifted off his shoulders, and he was proud of himself for taking control of his finances. With his debt gone, Simon was able to focus on saving and investing for the future. He set up an emergency fund, started contributing to his 401k, and even opened a Roth IRA. He also began to invest in the stock market, and he was able to grow his wealth over time. This short story shows that it is possible to dig yourself out of debt and become financially well off. It, however, requires discipline, commitment, and a lot of hard work. But it can be done. With a proper plan, budgeting, and seeking professional advice. Now, let me share with you the principles that got Simon out of the financial mess and into a much better place. Principle number 1, wealth is first a state of mind. Growing up, Simon's parents regularly got into heated arguments, and most mornings, Simon's dad would wake up with a frown on his face. As if trying to hide despair, he would smile at Simon, intending to reassure him that everything is okay. On occasion, Simon would hear his mum complaining over the phone about how life is hard and how tired she is of their lifestyle. The constant arguments and seeing his parents unhappy had a negative impact on Simon's self-confidence. And whenever Simon tried asking his parents about their situation, they would desperately fake a smile and say everything was okay. Watching this from afar gave Simon a faint idea of how life was, and this mental image would shape his mindset, behavior, actions, and lifestyle for a very long time. This is also one of the reasons why he felt the urge to buy a lot of things, most of which he didn't need, all in a desperate attempt to try and fill some void left his childhood. The scars left on Simon at a young age dictated most of his adult life. It wasn't until many years in the future, after by chance, attending a seminar that his friend invited him to, where he met a passionate motivational speaker who had a similar upbringing to Simon, would transform his life. The speaker talked about his hard upbringing and these strategies he used to pluck himself out of the rough he was in. A key principle that Simon took from the speaker, telling yourself daily that you are worthy and deserving of success. You see, one of the key determinants of success is how did you see yourself? Do you see yourself successful, or do you see yourself as a failure like Simon did? Transforming your mindset and believing that you are capable of achieving high-level success is a key fundamental to transformation. In the words of Andrew Young, I have about concluded that wealth is a state of mind and that anyone can acquire a wealthy state of mind by thinking rich thoughts. Just like Robert Kiyosaki said, the single most powerful asset we have is our mind. If we train well, it can create enormous wealth. Principle number 2, your 5 friends. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future, said a wise person. If you didn't know, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Have a look at your network today. The people you surround yourself with, the people you play with, the people you eat, chat, and gossip with, and then ask yourself, or what value are these people bringing to my life? If the answer you've got from the self-examination is nothing, then perhaps it's time you look for new friends. You should be prepared to leave or limit time with friends who had no value to your existence. Start hanging out with people who have a clear perspective on life, because your friends reveal a lot about your behavior. If you make new friends that think about how they'll turn every problem into an opportunity, you'll also desire to be like them. It's in the desire that new opportunities branch out, and connections come through. If you're thinking that this isn't enough to dump your old friends and get better new friends, then remember what Aditya Meth once said: the mediocre have a very narrow perception of reality, and it turned their lives. They see things as they are and not how they can be. Let me tell you a story. There's this man I fell in love with. And just to put it out there, he's way better off financially than I am. Apart from him being so handsome, I really love the way he thinks. I could be sitting there telling him how stuck I feel, and he'll come up with an idea that he thinks will get me through, even though sometimes I didn't go through with what is offered. But in hindsight, it was really good advice. One time when we both needed some extra money but had no means of getting it, he came up with the idea of a challenge that we should each start a small business or venture and see who could come up with the most money. By the end of the month, to cut the long story short, that was his way of saying, let's get this money. I guess that's what helped me grow. It's the same way with your friends. Having a positive thinking friends isn't enough to level up. You need friends who will make you act and yearn to see you grow. You need friends who hate income security or stagnation and enjoy the discomfort of growth. In a nutshell, you need friends who will challenge you to grow and who will celebrate your victories. Principle number 3. Specialized craft. I still remember the excitement I had on the first day I caught a basketball. I felt amazing because even though I didn't know a thing I was doing, I was pretty much the best in our crew. Later, my urge to get into the sport grew when I found my uncle with a photo of my dad when he was on the junior basketball team. That's when I told him, I do play sometimes. But surprisingly, he responded, don't think you'll be as good as me. At that point, I didn't bother standing up for what I wanted because I'm from a culture that requires submission to be top-notch. I gave it up until I got to high school and still turned out to be pretty good. I know this is not the best inspiration you'd want to hear, but the point is, when you focus on what you think you do best, don't let anyone tell you differently. The more persistent you get, the more perfect you become, and sooner than later, you'll be one of the best. Scott Adams once said that every skill you acquire doubles your odds of success. Instead of giving up on your skill at this lightest discouragement, then going to try out another, focus on what you believe in. With time, you'll get the desired exposure, and you'll be earning your bread. And before you know it, this skill will transform into a highly monetized skill. If my video is helpful, kindly like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the notification bell for more future contents. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.